Hey there, Jake here from CVP. I spent all of last week in our central London showrooms talking to people all about Sony's new FX5. Thank you to anyone who came by and said hello and chatted with me. It always blows my mind how many people watch these videos that I get to meet. Throughout my time at the events, one thing kept coming up. FX3 users looking to upgrade to the FX5 but wanted to know some of the changes and differences that they may run into. So in today's video, I want to talk through 5 things that relate to the operation and usability of the FX5 that are worth thinking about if you're an FX3 user looking to upgrade. First off, body design. The FX5 is actually quite similar to the FX3 at first glance, but when you actually get the camera in your hand and shoot with the FX5, there is a difference in operability between them. In the hand, the FX5 does feel more substantial thanks to the larger grip. The FX3 has your traditional mirrorless button layout and design on the back, whereas partly because of the nice large new screen, the FX5 has limited control on the back. There are now only 3 buttons on the rear of the camera. These are of course handy, but for FX3 owners and operators, this change will take some time to get used to. It means you don't have the dial on the rear to control and navigate through the menu system. You have to use the top dial or joystick. This will take some getting used to for FX3 users with lots of muscle memory. Focus magnification is by default bound to 5, which is good as that's the same as the FX3. I actually really like the placement of the menu and back button on the FX5. It makes navigating through the menus quick. Instead of the mode button on the FX3, we now have a clips button for your playback and then custom button 4, which is false color by default. So you have more control in some places and less in others. Controlling the camera is pretty similar, but will still take some getting used to. The monitor has also seen a big improvement over the FX3. It's larger and actually surprisingly bright, which you can control in the menu system. Talking about the menu, this is where things are pretty different. The FX3 is running a similar menu system to the Alpha series cameras, whereas the FX5 now uses a similar menu system found on Sony's larger cinema line cameras like the FX6 and Venice. So if you're coming from the FX3 or another Sony camera running the more stills orientated Alpha series menu, the FX5 system will take some time to get used to. But there's a lot to love here. This menu system has been designed over years for primarily shooting video, so it's missing a lot of the settings you may see in the Alpha cameras. First off, navigating through the menus is a little different. You can use the rear dial to navigate through the home screen here, which means you can adjust key shooting settings like this. There are also several layers to the menu which you can navigate by either tapping the menu button, which brings up the quick menu, and then holding it down to go into the deeper menu system. The quick menu has some really great functions which are really helpful when you're shooting. You also have the ability to use the Big 6 menu, which you can cycle to by hitting the home button, and another quick menu which you can view by hitting the user button. If you want a clean view of your image on the rear monitor, you can hit display in this user menu here. Once you hit the deeper menu system, there will be some things in different places with slightly different names, but just spend some time sat down with the camera and just have a look at where everything is before taking it out on a shoot and you'll be fine. You can customize what the buttons and dials do a good bit, so I would suggest doing so to your liking and then creating an all file, which is essentially a file you can generate in the camera that backs up your camera's settings. That way you can reload them if you need to, or even transfer them across cameras, which could come in handy if you ever use multiple FX5s on a single shoot. One big addition to the FX5 is false color, which I do want to quickly talk about, as it's a really helpful tool when exposing with this camera, especially if you're shooting RAW. If you've never used false color before, it's essentially a tool that has been designed to show you the different light levels, or IRE, in your image using different colors. The different colors have a percentage IRE range, and once you learn where the different parts of your exposure sit and their color, you can quickly toggle this on, check your exposure, and make any adjustments that you need to do. Some key colors are blue and purple, which show you when your shadows are falling to noise, green, which is 18% medium gray, which can be really helpful if you're using something like a color checker to expose, light pink, which is roughly where you want Caucasian skin tone to sit, and then yellow and red, which is where you're starting to clip your whites. When shooting in RAW in Cine EI, false color is unaffected by EI changes, but does change as you go up and down the different base ISOs. This is worth keeping in mind if you're trying to use EI to expose. Honestly, there is quite a lot to go through and learn here. We are planning on doing a full guide to the FX5 as soon as we get our demo units in, which should be very soon now. So make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss all the FX5 content we have planned. And if you want to buy anything you see in this video, or you want to get your hands on the FX5 or any other kit here in the UK or across Europe, head over to cvp.com where our experienced team is waiting to help you. The FX5 features Sony's dynamic active stabilisation, which you may not have seen before if you're coming from an FX3. This is alongside the regular steady shot, which is Sony's lowest form of stabilisation, then active, which crops in a little bit for increased stabilisation power, and then dynamic active, which crops in even more but unlocks even more stabilisation performance. This new stabilisation mode crops in on the image by roughly 1.5 times, and both active modes are only possible in the XAVC recording modes, not in RAW, which isn't too surprising given that it's RAW. The regular steady shot mode will work in RAW though. This mode is great though if you're in a challenging environment where you want to do a shot like a walk and talk, for example, but don't have any extra support. It does a really good job overall, but can result in some slightly weird jumps here and there. However, in the right scenario, it can perform really well. If you're someone who doesn't want stabilisation, you can actually turn it off, but the sensor will still have a little bit of movement to it in extreme scenarios. Sony is available to remove the stabilisation system completely and lock it down if you'd like, but this is a paid service and once done, it's unable to be reversed. Oh yeah, the FX5 can also record its gyroscopic data, which you can use in post in their Catalyst Browse program to stabilise your footage. This is in both RAW and XAVC. Like the FX3, the FX5 has excellent autofocus, but I do think it's actually a step above the FX3 thanks to the AI processing chip. But controlling it is a little bit different because of the change in physical design and menu system. When you dive into the shooting menu system, you can control your focus here. This allows you to adjust the speed and subject shift sensitivity, which is similar to the FX3. Speed is how fast the focus will track a given subject, and shift is how sticky it is on whatever you've decided to track. These settings really change how it behaves, but it's similar to the FX3 settings and other Sony cameras as well. So if you're familiar with other modern Sony cameras, you should feel right at home here. As I said though, I think the FX5 is better when it comes to autofocus than the FX3. It does a really good job of recognizing subjects much sooner than the FX3. It really is an impressive system when paired with some of Sony's modern lenses. You can also change the focus area and the different subject modes. Further down in the menu, there is this setting for multi-selector function. This is the joystick on the top of the camera. You can define its function as either switching between different subjects and also to control the pointer. The pointer is essentially a crosshair which you can use to confirm focus tracking using the top joystick. This is actually quite a nice way of controlling the autofocus, especially when using the EVF, as you can't use the EVF and the monitor at the same time. You can also touch the focus, which works really well if you've got it configured in the correct way to do so. So yeah, overall, it's similar to the FX3, but a little bit different, and I think a lot better performance-wise. Last but not least, the way the FX5 handles audio is a little bit different as well. The level of control you have is much better. In the first menu layer, you have really nice control of the different input options. And when you use the new XLR handle, you can also record 32-bit float audio internally, which is a great addition. Though I wish it didn't require the top handle attached to do it. If you're unsure what 32-bit float is, you can think of it as kind of a raw audio format. It allows you to capture a larger range of audio level and then in post apply gain without messing with the quality of your audio compared to regular 24-bit. This is especially useful for solo shooters who have a lot to think about when filming and they may sometimes forget to set their audio levels perfectly. In the menu, you can choose to record it directly attached to your video clips or as a separate WAV file, which is nice depending on how you want to process your clips. While the FX3 and FX5 share a good amount of similarities, they certainly are quite different cameras, and the FX5 may not work for every FX3 shooter's use case. Hopefully this video has helped highlight some of the major differences and changes with the FX5, but we are planning on doing more content around the FX5 soon, so let us know if you have any more questions about it compared to the FX3 down below. If you're still on the fence and want to check this camera out for yourself before pulling the trigger, please reach out to our fantastic demo team to arrange a demo in one of our UK or European showrooms. We should be getting our demo units in very soon. I hope this video has been helpful. Let us know what you think of the FX5 down in the comments below. And if you liked the video, please give it a like and maybe consider subscribing so you don't miss out on our awesome upcoming content. And thank you so much for watching.